Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've been keeping well, and let's get right to our stories, both with updates. Story 1. Opie writes, I'm 15 female and my father is 46 male. My dad left the family when I was 7 without any explanation. He just vanished one day and I've never seen him since. He left because of relationship issues with my mom. She was heartbroken and waited 5 years for him to return, but in the end filed for divorce. Thankfully, she's over him now. To be honest, now, 8 years after he left, I barely have any memory of him. Only some resentment for the years of suffering he put my mom and sister, 19 female, through. They tried and tried to contact him, but he'd never respond. I can't remember his voice, personality, or even face much. Last week, he texted my mother and said he wanted to meet up after 8 years of disappearance. My mom agreed. We arranged a meet-up at a nearby restaurant. My sister was so nervous/excited, but I realized I felt nearly nothing. He arrived and my mom and sister started crying. He cried too, at the sight of his, quote, beloved daughters, unquote. He saw that I looked quite emotionless and said, quote, don't you miss your dad? Unquote. I replied honestly that I didn't remember him. He left so long, it's like I barely knew him. He was so shocked and hurt. Eventually, he cut off our meet-up early, claiming he had to work. My mom and sister were so mad, they blamed it on me. My mom said that my sister's been waiting to see her dad for so long, but I had to make a stupid remark and make him leave a second time, asking how I could behave like this towards my dad, telling me that I'm a selfish witch and a-hole. I'm sorry that he cut the meetup short, cause I know my sister missed him so damn much, but to be honest, I don't feel bad for saying the truth. Am I the a-hole? Opie, you are not the a-hole. Your father just left without a word, and now he's returned, and he just expects everything to go back to normal for everyone to be happy to see him, as though nothing ever happened. You spoke the truth, not just your truth, but the truth. And the thing is that people don't always like hearing the truth. And I think that's probably why your mom and your sister reacted the way they did. And for some reason, they don't want to blame your father for leaving, for abandoning his family for as long as he did. So now they're blaming you and they're saying he's going to leave again and it's all your fault. But it isn't your fault, Opie. Let's get to some comments and then we can get Opie's update. Someone writes, blaming Opie for an honest answer and for her, quote, father's, unquote, negligence is also not okay for the mom to do. Opie is allowed to be authentic in her reaction, and if the, quote, dad, unquote, isn't adult enough to take a dose of reality and bug us off again, that's not on Opie, even a little bit. The guy sounds like a tool, honestly. You abandon your children and expect zero fallout and a joyful reunion? He sounds like a child. Someone else comments, not the a-hole. This is not on you. You are at a very impressionable age, where things your family say or do can haunt you. It is not right for your sister, and much less your mother, to put this on you at all. I can't say this enough. They are both failing you immensely by even suggesting that. Please hear this. You did nothing wrong. Let's get 2 more comments with replies from Opie before we go to Opie's update. Someone comments, not the a-hole. He didn't only leave, but he, quote, disappeared, unquote. That means he never contributed to your upbringing economically and otherwise. He's not your, quote, dad, unquote. Your mom is. And anyway, he asked, so... Opie replies, he actually gives my mom money every month to pay for the bills, but he's been completely absent in upbringing. Someone else says, not the a-hole. Why did he want to meet you all out of a sudden after 8 years of no contact at all? Did he think you would welcome him like nothing happened? After all the struggle you had, I can understand you and your non-existent feelings towards him. I would say he has some selfish reasons for contacting you. And to this Opie replies, "You may be right, I thought so too. However, he told us nothing but how much he loved and missed us, and asked about our studies and friends. He asked about us, but didn't say anything about him." And here's Opie's update. "Hi, it's me again, but now I'm 1 year older and a bit wiser, I hope. It's been a few months since I initially posted, so here's an update on how my life's going. First, I no longer feel bad about making my dad leave the meetup, since he's somehow reconciled with both my mom and sister. Here's how it happened. In mid-April, he came to our house to see my sister on her birthday. He bought a ton of gifts and said a lot of sappy words, which, of course, won my mom and sister over. He tried to talk to me, calling me his, quote, darling baby, unquote, and, quote, precious little girl, unquote. However, when he realized that I truly did not see him as a father, he left. In June, he visited again. I confronted him and asked him why he suddenly wanted to be so involved in the family after leaving for 8 years. He said he never forgot about us and always felt so guilty about leaving, that he needed to see us again because we were the most important people in his life. I demanded to know why he left then. His exact answer was, quote, "Baby, when I was in a relationship with your mom, things got difficult. Things like that happen in relationships, and Daddy needed a break. It doesn't mean Daddy doesn't love you," unquote. I thought it was utter BS. I said, quote, "If you needed a break, you could have talked things out with Mom. You could have even filed for divorce. But instead, you walked out and left without a trace, like an effing coward," unquote. He tried to convince me that I wouldn't understand these kinds of things, but I wouldn't hear him out. He dodged my questions and eventually got so frustrated that he left again. In July, which is my birthday month, he visited on my birthday. In a very passive-aggressive manner, he said he wanted to take my sister and mom out to a restaurant, quote, "to catch up with Daddy," unquote. My sister asked, quote, "You are not taking her, me, too?" He responded, quote, "My name is very temperamental with Daddy. Can you tell her that Daddy loves her? She won't understand," unquote. I find it very weird and slightly disturbing that he is still talking to us like we're little kids, despite me being 16 and my sister 20. My sister and mom were hesitant about leaving without me, but eventually they went. They came home to celebrate my birthday with me, but I still thought it was hurtful they went in the first place. Our family hasn't heard from my dad all August, despite my sister trying to reach out to him. Of course, they are putting the blame on me for giving him the cold shoulder. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. By the way, I'm so thankful to all the commenters. If it weren't for them, I'd probably be still feeling guilty and sad. Have a great day. Well, Opie, the fact that your father came and he took your mom and your sister out on your birthday and left you there alone, that sounds very calculating. It sounds like he wanted to punish you for not accepting him and pretending that nothing ever happened, that he never disappeared, and basically treating him the way your mom and sister have been. So that is a bit worrisome that he would be that way. I feel that was planned. That was something very deliberate to get back at you, Opie. And I also wonder a bit about our last comment. If this was TV, I would be wondering if he needed an organ transplant or some other serious reason to reintegrate himself with the family. Well, that wouldn't surprise me either. That is such a strange thing, the way he just returned and kept on about how he missed everyone. Well, if he really missed his children that much, he had every opportunity to connect with you years ago. But anyway, Opie, I think you're the smart one here. You're not allowing emotion to rule you, and you're seeing things for what they are, and I really do wish you the best. Story 2. Opie writes, My 20 female mom died 7 years ago when my little brother E, 10 male, was 3 years old. It really devastated all of us, and of course I miss her more than anything. If she was still here, things would be so much better than they currently are. Her death really destroyed my dad. He just became really withdrawn and pretty much only focused on going to work and coming home. He fell back on taking care of E, so I started doing it instead. I would miss out on school dances, social events, award ceremonies, etc. to take care of my brother. I stopped even trying to go out because when I did, my dad would always ask me to cancel plans to look after E anyway. I was supposed to go out of state for college, but because I knew my brother would end up having to fend for himself, I picked local school instead. I still live at home and even work from there so that I can help out too. I've tried not to be upset about it too much because my father lost his wife and I know that he's hurting, but I just wish I could do something other than be my brother's parent. School started up again for my brother recently, and while I was making dinner, he took out a flyer out of his backpack and gave it to me. It was a notice about a, quote, meet the teacher, unquote, night. He was telling me about the other details of it when our dad walked in the kitchen and asked what was going on. My little brother kind of dismissed him and told him it was just between the two of us, but maybe he'd talk to him about it later. The topic was switched after that, and my brother didn't bring it up again before he went to bed, so I didn't really think anything else of it. We did the whole teacher night thing, which I informed my dad of via text. And when we got back home, my dad sent my brother upstairs because he wanted to talk to me. He told me that I needed to tell my brother that I'm not the one he should be asking about important school stuff because I'm not his mother and I'm definitely not his parent. He said it was disrespectful of me to even take E to the event in the first place, but especially malicious for me to let my brother continue acting as though I am his mom. The whole thing just pissed me off. I told my dad that it's his fault my brother views me that way to begin with, because he clearly wasn't up to doing the job after our mom died, and that the only person he should be upset at is himself for making his grieving daughter take up all of the duties that he fell short on after the death of his wife. I told a friend what happened, and she does think I'm right, but she also thinks it was cruel of me to say it like that to my dad, because clearly he's still hurting. Now, I'm not sure if I was being an a-hole. Well, OP, you've certainly been through a lot, and I have to say the fact that at age 13 you took over raising your brother basically for the most part, that says a lot about you and your character and the kind of person you are. Even though that whole situation wasn't and isn't ideal, I really think it's going to help you a lot in life. I see you as somebody that's going to be able to handle situations and events that come up a whole lot better than the average person. Because you unfortunately had to grow up very fast and take on a lot of responsibility, but with that you also learned a lot. But I'm still sorry that, OP, that you had to go through that. But let's get some comments and then we get an update from OP. Not the a-hole. Your dad needed a wake-up call. Hopefully he realizes his mistakes and rectifies what he can. At least with your brother. Your dad owes you a massive apology and needs to take responsibility for the hurt he caused you. And to this someone else replies, agreed. OP, not the a-hole, but I think your dad needs some grief therapy. And I think that you as a family unit would all benefit from family therapy. I think your dad was embarrassed when he realized that your brother views you as more of a parent than him. You and your dad need to have a heart-to-heart. Sorry for your loss. Let's get one more comment and then we get OP's update. Not the a-hole. You were a child but had to take on adult responsibilities because your father failed in his duties. Grieving is no excuse. A parent sets aside their own pain to be who their children need. It is long past time for your dad to face reality, and the reality is that he effed up and let everyone down. Hopefully, he will own that and take steps to do better. And here's Opie's update. First off, I want to thank you for all your kind comments and all of your suggestions. I really cherished all of your words, even if I didn't get to thank you each individually. I really didn't expect so much feedback. I spoke to my dad, like many of you suggested, and told him the truth about what my childhood was like due to his emotional absence. Then I told him that if he wanted to start being a dad again, he was going to have to earn that title from my brother and earn trust from me before I felt comfortable enough to just hand over the reins to him. He didn't really say much to me, just that he needed time to think, but that he was sorry for getting upset with me. So I've decided not to push him anymore. I've spent long enough trying to hold everything together, and the only person I'm going to continue to give that much effort to is my brother, because he still needs it. I did also listen to the other suggestions to do something for myself. So after I dropped my brother off at school the other day, I skipped my classes for the first time ever, which I will not be doing again because it stressed me out, LOL, and I called out of work. I got my nails done, I went to a bookstore, made an appointment with my own therapist, and I bought some flowers to go visit my mom's grave. I told her about everything that's been happening, and I know she wasn't really there or anything, but it felt good to say it out loud. I know this started because I was angry with my father, and I know all of you pretty much collectively agreed that I was not the a-hole for being upset, because what he's been doing is worth getting mad over. But I still asked my mom not to be too pissed off at him from the afterlife. I don't know if this was the update any of you wanted or were expecting. It has only been a few days. Maybe things will change, but it's okay if they don't. I did it for 7 years and I can do it for a few more. I will try harder to give myself some grace though. I know I can't keep doing this without slowing down and taking time to heal on my own. I know I deserve a life too, so I'm going to hope my dad comes around, or I'll figure out some sort of childcare every now and again so I can take a breather. Again, thank you all so much. Your comments on my last post really helped me sort this out for myself. Well, OP, I'm glad that you found the clarity you needed, that you're figuring things out, and that you're going to start putting yourself first a bit more than certainly you have been in the past 7 years. And you definitely deserve it. I honestly hope that this is going to be the wake-up call your father needs, OP, and that he's going to step up and start taking care of your brother in the way he should. Well, that's it for this edition of Wild Drama Stories. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, leave a comment, and I'll see you again next time.